Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before I get started, I just wanted to give you a huge spoiler warning. I kind of forgot to add this into the video until later, but huge spoiler warning. I will be talking about campaign details if you haven't played it. TLDR, I think the campaign's worth it to play, so don't listen to what a lot of other people are saying. I think it's a lot of fun, so I hope you enjoy. But yeah, spoiler warning, I will be talking about details about the end of the campaign, post end of the campaign, etc. So if you don't want that spoiled for you, you haven't gotten to play it yet with your friends, I would just hold off on watching this video until after. So thanks for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today I wanted to kind of talk about Lightfall and everything. This is more of a rebuttal to what I've seen a lot online that has really kind of annoyed me. I'm not gonna lie, and I kind of just wanted to give my take on it, my friend's take. So I went through the whole campaign Legendary on day one with my friend the Corn Chili. You've seen him on the channel a few times if you've been here for a while. Maybe you haven't, but he and I absolutely loved it. Okay, we enjoyed the story. I mean, yeah, there were some moments where it was a little cringy, maybe, but like, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. I think that the stuff we got from it was really cool. This area, for instance, the Puka Pond, I absolutely love this area. Um, in fact, call me a nerd, but the other day, or yesterday, I was having to finish up a paper for one of my history classes, and I wrote it in here because of the waterfall, and it's this really nice sounding waterfall. I mean, listen to that. Isn't that nice? Isn't that soothing? But yeah, I'm weird, but could do with that as you will. I just think that the art style and the detail is absolutely amazing. I love all of this. Like the puka. I like the puka. But okay. But back to what people were likely complaining about, which is um, other stuff, such as the fact that a lot of people thought that it was pretty much just a tutorial for Strand, or a way to unlock Strand, which is a way to look at it. I mean, you don't get Strand until at the very end, effectively. You come up to this thing, um, and you can effectively buy your subclass. It is given to you. All of this is given to you, except for the grenades. You have to unlock these two, which I haven't really played with yet, even though I bet the shackle grenade is broken. Um, and then you have to buy all these fragments. But other than that, you know, Strand is not even in its final form. If you look, for instance, there are only two aspects of Strand, whereas on all the light subclasses and on Stasis, there are three on each class. So we're not even done yet. We don't have everything. So save your opinions of Strand until we get to the Stasis point where you have the full thing set up. Like, we don't have all of these really insane options right yet because we haven't had that much time to develop it yet, and in lore wise our character hasn't learned how to use it that much yet, so we have time. I would say wait it out a little bit, have fun with it, run around and play Spider-Man, but when it comes to like grandmasters and stuff, I won't necessarily be running Strand yet, even though I think there are some things that make Strand incredibly competitive with the other classes, like Stasis, for instance. But I digress. So, what people are really complaining about, that I frankly don't really understand, is how rushed they thought the story was. And I would like to propose to you, how did you play the story? Okay? I would like to ask this question. Did you play it with a stacked team running perfect loadouts and ran through it in about 2 or 3 hours? Or did you do like what my friend and I did? Run through, take the weapons that the game gave us, this cool sniper I like that's kind of fun to play with. I actually really like it. Was pulse rifle, which I actually masterworked because I got volt shot on it, and it was really useful. And it helped proc a lot of the Strand abilities, believe it or not. It has a cool perk, for instance, for PvP. This new bow that throws stasis crystals, you can just pull from the season pass if you own it. That is. Um, you know, I got to mess around with some really cool stuff. I got to have fun. I pulled out Quicksilver Storm again. It feels better than it did last season, and it felt good then too, believe it or not. It felt a little underwhelming last season, but it's better now, which means they buffed it, right? And you get a cool ornament for it. So, what I'm trying to say is, if you played it I guess the way Bungie intended, which you can, it's Destiny 2. You can play however you want. I'm not saying that. I'm never saying that. In fact, I generally hate it when people tell me how to play. But if you play it the way they intended, you can run around and have a whole lot of fun. Like, for instance, at one point, there was a mission where you're running in circles in the Vex digital realm. I don't remember what it's called. But you're flying around using Strand, and you fight this big Minotaur and some leg harpies and that kind of thing. I threw on Legend of Acreus because I wanted to see if the Strand melee would proc um, Trench Barrel, and it does. It does. The Trench Barrel from a perk from the Catalyst will be activated by a Strand melee. So what I would do is I would grapple onto the Minotaur, jump up, and smack him because we were super under light. We were having a very hard time taking this Minotaur down. It took us several times to do it. Um, Several tries, several wipes to try and to get him. Well, what I ended up doing was I would fly up and smack him to proc Trench Barrel, and I would unload an unbelievable amount of damage from Acreus onto him. All right, and then I could get out of there because of the grapple. It was really fun. And there was another thing that you could do. Like, if you got a strand kill before then and made a tangle, you could throw that tangle, latch onto it, fly up, smack the Minotaur again, as I said, proc Trench Barrel, and you get all these unraveling effects and all that stuff. So it was just a really fun, different way to play the game. I really enjoyed it, and they intended for that. I do think that there are some serious problems, though, drawbacks coming from the campaign to coming to using Strand in the world. So the cooldown, for instance, and I'm certain that they'll address this. They'll probably give us like a 50% reduction on the cooldown of the grapple or something. But the grapple has an unbelievably long charge time. I'll show you here in a second that it's not unbelievably long. It's shorter than most other grenades, but a 50-second charge time is very noticeable. Because in comparison to the campaign, when you had the grapple up every like 15 seconds, maybe, you feel like you're flying around like Spider-Man all the freaking time. But the second they took off that enhanced thing, see, I have some mods on, so I got a little bit of energy back, but it's charging and it's taking for a very long time, and so you can't just like there are not easy ways, at least on Warlock, to just get your thing back, and so I can't go swing off that or anything just yet. I have to sit here and wait for a while before I can jump. It's kind of the way I look at it, and that's a drawback. That's something that they need to work at. But I don't think that that's enough to kill the subclass, obviously, because there's some really cool stuff. The little melee does a lot of damage. The Strand Hunter super will like one phase Phalanx Echo. I don't think people are like noticing the cool things about this, but the Hunter super for Strand will one phase insane amounts of things. Like dungeon bosses are nothing to it, which is crazy. The Warlock super will slash kill a lot of things, pretty much. It's like a Nova Bomb that fires little tracers, effectively. And so, it's really useful. Or it's an ad clear super. It'll track like 100 different enemies. So it's great. It's a lot of fun. And there's just a lot of unique playstyle things to do with it. Whereas with other stuff like Void is very useful, for instance. Like my Void setup, which, by the way, I love this loadout system. Another plus of this DLC. My Void setup is all about constantly throwing Vortex grenades and getting them back very quickly. And then as you throw those grenades, you get huge amounts of super energy, and you get a super very quickly, and you obliterate everything effectively, gaining health the whole time. It is a very fun but very cookie cutter setup, right? You are doing the same thing over and over again. Throwing grenade, getting volatile rounds, killing everything, gaining all your health back, throwing grenades. It is very good, but it is not unique in my opinion. It is the same as all of these other things. The new solar art stuff that came out. I set up this build last night. If you put on Ember of... Did I save it? I didn't save it, dang. If you put on Ember of Resolve, which I forgot to save to my thingy. If you put on Ember of Resolve, Solar Grenade, Final Blows cure you. Cure is a burst of health, which means that every fusion grenade I throw using Starfire Protocol gives me a huge amount of health back. And so it's essentially like Devour based on how many enemies you're going to be killing with fusion grenades, because fusion grenades are incredibly common on the Warlock subclass here. Arc, which I once again forgot to save it. Arc it's all about getting ionic traces to return your ability energy to get more damaging stuff. And I haven't looked at the new fragments, but like I haven't really looked at the new fragments, but I bet they're useful. Um, but like it's all about returning grenades and then getting a super, and then returning grenades and then returning your melee ability and then returning every ability and then getting your super. It is fun, but it is very cookie cutter and the same. Strand is the first time that Bungie has given us an opportunity to do something different beyond stasis. Like Strand and Stasis are unique. It's not just slash kill stuff and gain health, right? There are ways you can gain health. There are ways you can do various things, but it is not just a cookie cutter thing. It is not just play exactly this way. It is not just throw a grenade. It is you have to kind of think about it. Your grapple has various cool effects. You can debuff things with unravel and do damage over time. The little threadlings will go eat your enemies for you, or they'll sit around you. You can take them. If you don't grab them, they'll despawn if there's no enemies nearby. The little needle thing is really cool, but there's a long charge time, so you have to build for that in your build. So there's a lot of things that you have to think about. Like, for instance, the finishers create threadlings. We've had abilities in previous subclasses that make you think about finishers, um, but they usually don't have very good effects. Like, one is like on Void, you can use this on a new subclass. Doing a finisher makes you invisible. That's cool and all, but it's only when you use a finisher, so you can only use it in PvE. Well, this one makes more sense because threadlings are really, in my opinion, a PvE thing. So when you're fighting normal enemies and combatants, as Bungie calls them, finishers are very common. You can get finishers, especially in like the Legend campaign. I found that this was a very useful fragment. I thought it was very nice, very fun, and so you could create a huge number of threadlings by getting a finisher kill and then dropping your rift. In which, if you have your stuff set up the way I do, I drop a rift and I gain a huge amount of ability energy back, right? Uh, and so I gain all this ability energy back. I get some kills with my various weapons, which it seems to have not saved all of my mods. That's a little unfortunate. But I get some kills with, I originally had it set up with my arc thing, that I get kills with my arc pulse rifle, and I get orbs that give me armor charge, which effectively gives me extra damage reduction when I go red bar, so that keeps me alive for longer. I had something at one point that allowed me to regenerate all of my abilities as I used them effectively. So it got to be really synergistic. I ran a Lost Sector last night and absolutely obliterated everything without getting hurt, really, except for when I screwed up. So Strand is very fun. It's not as you're not as held back as people thought you'd be. And like this one, for instance, this orb gives you Woven Mail. I don't really know what Woven Mail does. I think it's a damage reduction thing. Um, but you get it for picking up orbs of light. You generate orbs of light by doing anything effectively at this point. And so there's a lot of really cool stuff here. I guess this is just a really long way of me saying they added a huge amount of really cool things, and I think that a lot of people are just kind of missing the point. I'm rambling here because I don't really know what to say. I haven't done everything yet. None of us have done everything yet. People who are complaining have definitely not done everything yet because the season started on Tuesday. It's been 2 days, bro. Like, I have all of these things to get. I have, I think to my, 3 exotic quests in my inventory, 2 of which are catalysts. But still, like, Season of Defiance is 2 days old. And people are already casting these crazy assumptions about how dead the game is and stuff. Whereas last I checked, we're at record player numbers, for instance. And people are getting driven away by this, toxic community feedback that, in my opinion, is completely unwarranted. I absolutely loved the ending of the game. I think if you made it this far, you probably, not you're probably aware that there are spoilers in this, but spoiler warning if not. I completely loved the final Callus fight. I think that Callus was very cool in his design in the game. I think that when we broke his phase and he turned into this he pulled out his 2 swords effectively and starts ramming at you across the map. It's really kind of scary, kind of fun on legendary difficulty. My friend and I had to run around in circles to not get hit by him. It's a different, fun play style. And I was running with a sniper rifle. I had to be careful that I wasn't too close to him. So I could actually A, do damage, and B, not get murdered. Um, and so it was really fun. And then they added these new, incredibly, in my opinion, for the entire gaming genre, innovative enemies. I forget what they're called. The Tormentors. That's right. So they added these new enemies called the Tormentors, and they're just absolutely terrifying if you're playing, with if it's just like your friend and yourself, seeing them for the first time. They're really scary enemies. Like the first time we played, my friend Corn Chili was grabbed by the Tormentor, and we actually figured out you can stun them and stop them from killing you and ripping your soul out or whatever. Um, if you like stun them by shooting them in the chest with a special weapon, I think is what it took. But we saw that and we were like, oh crap, he's coming at us. Oh no, oh no. Like for the first time in a very long time in Destiny, with the exception of Grandmasters, I actually like was kind of concerned about dying. Like I think the game is in a good, healthy place with difficulty because it's not as harsh as Witch Queen was. Like Hit Witch Queen wasn't impossible by any means. No, it was very, very doable, very fun. Um, but Witch Queen was significantly harder. I ran the Witch Queen campaign solo, the Legends campaign on solo. I did that. I did Savathun. I killed Savathun by myself. That was really hard. That was incredibly hard, actually, because what would happen is I would make it through the phase and then I would die to the wizards or something, or like the enemies would just slowly chip me down and I couldn't do anything about it. And I've been a warlock main for a long time. I'm pretty good at this, right? And that was really hard. Whereas this one was toned down a little bit, but not. You couldn't really tell if you were, not tryharding. Like we weren't tryharding. We were playing the story. There was only one mission where we really started to try hard because we were like, how are we going to do this? And that was the mission with where Rohan dies, which is really upsetting. By the way, I thought he was a cool character, but like the that was the only mission where we actually like kind of changed up our play style to win because we were it was difficult and it was fun difficult though. It was not it was kind of like an Elden Ring of campaigns, but it wasn't nearly as difficult as Witch Queen in my opinion. Because when I went back and did the Legend campaign not too long ago of Witch Queen right before Lightfall came out, with one of my other friends, Lemony Wizard, it was kind of hard. We wiped a few times, and I mean, thing is like you have to understand if you're not running the game with super stacked teams, like my thoughts are like throw together like Cross and like a bunch of other people, right? Like they're gonna absolutely destroy anything. Like there's a reason that they say that they're the best team in NA. It's a joke, but they are, right? And I'm not the best team. I'm not a member of the best team in NA. My friends are really good, but we're not, that good. And so people like that are going to absolutely incinerate anything that comes in front of them. And be like, well, this was underwhelming. Yeah, because you are the best, right? And so I would kind of look at what they say and just kind of say like, maybe like maybe what they're saying is valid, that it was a little bit easier than Witch Queen, because it was easier than Witch Queen, but that guy was hard to kill. Okay, he was Callus was hard to kill. It was like, or Callus the boss was not, but the enemies around it made it hard, right? And so that was a difficult fight. That was a good fight. That was a fun fight. It was fair, but it was hard, right? Um, and so, you know, I enjoyed it. I think the lore was good. If we're going to talk about the lore, I love the implications. Well, I don't love it. I think it's terrifying, but I love the implications of whatever the heck the witness just did to the traveler. Um, I think that people are missing the point here as well. Again, heavy spoilers. But I do believe that people are missing the point with the whole veil thing. One of the things I've seen all over Twitter, all over YouTube, etc., that has really pissed me off is constantly seeing people say, "I have no idea what the veil is. What's the veil? What's the veil? What's the veil? What's the veil?" We don't know. They haven't told us because Osiris doesn't know. The characters in our game don't know. That's the point. The point is that none of us know, right? The point is that the veil is this mysterious thing that I don't even think the people of Neomuna understand, because they, yes, they use the Cloud Strider, the not the Cloud Striders. These people exist in this digital scape because of it. But I don't think that even they understand how it works, what it is. So them not telling us what it is probably more of an extension of the fact that Bungie doesn't want to tell us what it is because our characters in the game don't know. So what they wanted us to do was to stop the witness from getting to it. I saw a really good comment earlier today that said that effectively what he thinks the veil is the heart of the traveler. That the heart of the traveler is somehow a link between the the traveler and the veil in Neptune, and so he wanted to access and could only access the traveler once he had made that connection to the heart of the traveler. And that's why he was able to do his "I'm witnessing time" thing and cut the traveler open and disappear into it with a bunch of pyramids. I really do believe that it's because he has that there is a connection between the veil and the traveler in some paracausal way that Bungie doesn't want to tell us about yet. And I think that's cool. I think it's different than most things. You know, it's not spelled out to us. There's a reason that there is an end game like story coming up in a year, where this is Lightfall. This is Infinity War, not end game, right? We're not at the end yet. There's a lot of things that they're not going to tell us immediately. However, I do think a lot of this will be described based on the fact that this is a season about the Queen. If you looked at the Veil closely, her powers looked very similar to what the Veil is shown to us as. That, like, almost Marasov-looking portal thing you see right before you fight Callus is probably related to her, what she draws power from. And if she draws power from the heart of the Traveler and doesn't know that it's related to the light, or maybe it's not related to the light, and it's just related to something like that, maybe she doesn't know either. And so that might explain why we don't know what the Veil is. I'm just so sick of seeing this take, because, you know, I sound like an angry raving Redditor. I understand that. But I don't get why I see this take on day 2 of an expansion that's supposed to set up next year. I think it was a good expansion. I think it is a good expansion. We're not done yet. We've got a year of content yet, and people are already making their final assumptions. So to all the people out there who might be listening to this, that might see this, you know, before they buy the game, maybe they haven't bought the DLC yet, or maybe they were going to play it like this weekend and are like, oh no, it's terrible, why would I do that? I don't think you should listen to these people. I don't think you should listen to anyone on the internet. I've been for a long time, and like very irritated with people on the internet and Twitter in particular, because they seem to have very bad takes on just about everything. You know, like, I'll watch a really good movie and I'll say, wow, this was great, and people will say, no, that was terrible, and I'm like, why? Like, what arguments do you have? It's like, dude, the writing was bad. Why was the writing bad? Why is the writing bad? Why do you not hate, you know, like why is the writing bad? Explain to me. You know, I might just be an angry old man, but I enjoyed this. Okay, right? I had fun, you know, and I'm not just gonna sit here and chill for Bungie for another like 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. But I did enjoy it. I think it was worth my $100, and I'm going to continue playing this season, and I'm going to make videos for you guys, because there's a lot of cool stuff I can do with Lost Sectors and other things and that kind of thing from the stuff that they've added this season. I'm excited. I'm optimistic. You know, I've made some friends in the wild. You know, I've enjoyed playing Spider-Man a bit, you know. Like, this is very amusing, right? I absolutely love the grapple mechanic. especially when you can spam it like this. It's just fun, you know? This whole expansion has been really fun. I don't really know what else to say. And so I would just say to you the viewer, think for yourself, play it for yourself, or don't save your money. You know, I had this conversation with someone else. You know, your money is your money, obviously. Um, I just think that my review is I'd give it like a 90 or a 95. Okay, like out of 100. You know, because the art style is amazing. You know, like I like the cyberpunk art style. You know, I played Cyberpunk 2077. Absolutely loved it. You know, that kind of futurist dystopia kind of thing. In this, they've gone for kind of the opposite. They've gone for like a future utopia kind of look that's been invaded. And so, like, if you look at this other area, you know, if you've played through the campaign or if you've made it this far, you probably have seen a lot of it. But you know, there's a lot of really cool stuff here. Like this cool mural, I just think is nice. But you know, the art team like really worked on this. They designed a really cool world, and it's not, it, it's fun, you know, because like you have all these really weird looking. It's like human but alien, right? So you have this mixed like. It's from like, you know, future Earth people, but it's different, right? And so it has this, you know, feeling of being familiar yet not familiar, right? Because it's so futuristic and different. And so you have these cool like neotech looking things, and all of the art, the street art showing the pukas, for instance, I just think is a kind of fun touch. Um, I'm not, you know, I'm not going to hold you guys up for any longer. I just want to caution you against listening to the people who claim to be the majority, because they're not. I think the vast majority of people that have played the campaign have really enjoyed it. I think there's a huge bandwagon effect going on right now, where a bunch of people are saying, or a few people on Twitter are saying, I absolutely hate this. This is the worst DLC in Destiny history. Blah blah blah. No, it's not. It's not. I think this is better than the. If you're going to talk about the worst DLC in history, this DLC blows Curse of Osiris out of the water. This DLC blows Warmind out of the water. I think that it's on par with Witch Queen. I'd say it's on par with Beyond Light. You know, like I'm having fun, and so I think it's fun. Don't get to shoot me. I shoot you. I think it's really fun. You know, I like the new weapons. I was a little worried when I saw like all of these guns are like the same exact as the moon weapons, because they are. The models are identical. This is Premonition, if you remember that from a few years back. Premonition was Void, and this here was a sniper rifle that I liked called Tranquility. However, this is a high impact frame now, so it's a heavier sniper than it was when it was originally made, and it's strand, so it does all sorts of cool strand things. And the origin trait, if you've seen that little rocket looking thing that flies out when I'm shooting stuff with it, the origin trait spawns a rocket when you've hit sustained hits on an enemy. So, you know, it's actually a useful origin trait. We have like 2 origin traits that are useful, or 3 origin traits that are useful. They've kind of buffed the bad ones, but this one actually increases the damage output of your weapon. Isn't that cool? I mean, I don't know. So there's some creativity here. You know, that we've seen some creativity before, but I think this was one of the most creative expansions. And also the rollout was great. Like the launch was really smooth. Like I was able to log in within a few hours. I had to wait until 4 to play because of my friend, but I got to log in immediately. You know, so 300,000 people were on Steam alone, and I was able to log in the second the servers went up. So we're pretty close to it. So I don't know. I don't get the takes online, and I think that y'all, like, I'd leave it up to y'all. Like, Like, tell me what you think in the comments. Tell me if you think I'm a shill. That's all right. It'll be annoying, but it'll be whatever. I just I don't get these takes. I like green stuff. Green stuff over. Well, this has been Bean Turtle. I'm sorry for ranting for so long, but I just wanted to tell you all what I thought. So, thanks for watching, and have a nice day. I will be playing with some other Lightfall stuff coming up. So, thanks for watching, y'all. See ya.